everybody. Welcome to What Culture. I'm Scott, joined by one of our lovely editors, Dan.
Hi.
And Mr. Simon Gallagher. Good. That's going to work on the audio version of this.
Hello.
Yes, we've rolled in after watching the midnight release of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, and opinions are mixed. So we thought we would do... we've done a review that you can go and check out where me and Si broke some stuff down. We went with a 2-star review, which angered Mr. Sedan because he thinks that it's brilliant. So I thought we'd sort of do some positive stuff, and we can just sort of, cover the movie in general. Dan, you're way more positive than me and Si are. What do you think?
Well, I wasn't angered at that 2-star review. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Of course.
But I'm going to preface this by saying I hated The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I hated it. Mm-hmm. So going into this one, I was very negative. Like, I thought it was going to be terrible, but I came out pleasantly surprised. Like, I thought it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
But what is perfect these days?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think this movie is, but I think we should talk about the amount of fan service that's in it, because there are so many things where they directly address the criticisms from The Last Jedi, and it's weird because you can, even though they they obviously the movie's been with us for a couple of years, you can kind of bring up a list of those sort of nebulous criticisms, whether it be Luke throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder, or Rey not doing enough training, or whatever, even like Rose's sort of role in the whole thing. All of that stuff gets addressed head on, and I will also clarify that we are going to delve into spoilers for this thing. If you want some non-spoiler thoughts, go check out me and Si's review, or mine and Si's review. But even then, we get into spoilers as well, because that's the juicy stuff. Back to something like Rose, though, they just straight up her first line of dialogue is like, well, I can't actually come with you. I've got to go and do another quest. I can't be involved in this. And something like Luke's first line of dialogue is saying that a lightsaber should be treated with more respect. Obviously referencing the fact that he throws it over his own shoulder.
So why did he do that?
Well,
why
exactly.
did he throw it?
There's a bunch of like retcons and stuff in here that for me kind of break a lot of the
entire
other
film
things.
is a retcon.
Yes. So where do you
Is
come
that
down
a
on
bad
this?
thing, though? Because
Well, go on.
the opinions on Last Jedi, I know you liked it, Si.
I did.
But I'd say the majority of people didn't. So this is kind of what they had to do. Like, they couldn't double down on that because they obviously want the ticket sales and all that
The
stuff.
thing that I'm fascinated by is that it seems like there's a 50-50 split on The Last Jedi, but yeah, it's genuinely regarded more negatively, although I am curious on that, because for me, every person I come across that doesn't like it, I can usually point to someone who does. I didn't personally come to like it very much, but I want for them to license to go down this route with this new movie, they have to have a good reason to do so, and I wonder whether they're going off Google traffic, social media reactions. They can't be responding to a vocal minority. There has to be a sizable amount of people who didn't like The Last Jedi for them, to change course so much.
To me, you might not say it in public, but it feels like J.J. Abrams didn't like The Last Jedi and has made this film as a sort of, not an apology, because it does address these things very directly, but it also just ignores everything. Like, it puts everything in a box and says, that was a film that happened. It doesn't affect this film in any way, apart from, here's a character that we have to just shuffle off slightly. And then pretty much all of the big moments that happen are addressed in this montage that happens in the first 20 minutes of like, this is all so much plot. You're going to get distracted by this and you'll forget there was even a film that came before this.
I think in that regard, it's worth mentioning Palpatine, because obviously Ian McDiarmid walked out at Star Wars Celebration and they had the whole Palpatine's laugh at the end of the new trailer last time. And so I always thought that was going to be a big reveal that they would build up to. That, oh my God, Palpatine's still alive. People should deal with the reality that, oh my God, this dude is still alive. Then they cover it in the first couple sentences of the opening crawl. And the opening montage, like, Kylo goes to a planet, finds an artifact, then finds Palpatine. And Palpatine's voiceover is him just saying, I was the voice in your head, I was Vader, I was Snoke, and they just get all of that out the way so fast that for me it robbed any sort of weight behind Palpatine at all.
I did like the Vader thing, though.
Right.
Like, hearing James Earl Jones' voice again was cool, and maybe that's just another fan service moment. But like we were saying before this, I think if they had kept the Palpatine stuff like a secret, could you imagine like what the reveal would have actually been like in the film?
Yeah, but that's the thing. They would have had to like rejig the structure, I guess, and like have it so that you were building up to go into Exegol, and then eventually you would have the reveal that, oh my God, Palpatine's at the core of it. But they kind of invert it, and then when he reveals the final order, the fleet, for me that was like, well, where the hell, how have you done this?
Think about the marketing of this film. Obviously, I do a lot of industry stuff because I'm a film editor.
So important man.
Of course. Handsome too. Didn't hear you say that? In terms of the trailers and the marketing approach, the big thing that they had to sell this movie, and not just difference, because they needed to stress on difference, was Palpatine. Like, it's the blue chip that they were like, you need to come and see this film because, oh my God, Palpatine's back and he's back from the dead and you think he's dead. They don't actually address that or anything like that, but they don't actually need to because they put it in the marketing. So all fans who are going in to see Palpatine are only going in to see Palpatine. So it gets over everything.
I'd say one of the biggest hand waves away of a Last Jedi thing is when Holdo weaponizes lightspeed in Jedi to take out one of the Star Destroyers. In this, they mention that and they just say, oh, why can't we just do what Holdo did? And I think it's Finn.
That was a once in a million.
That was a 1 in a million. Yeah, I think it's Poe who says that was a one in a million chance. And that's it. It's like, well, why was it a 1 in a million chance? If the idea is that you could just point a ship at something else and hyperspace takes care of the rest of it, why couldn't they do that again? And it's little things like that where it's almost like I said, they drew up a list of stuff on the wall and just sort of, well, we need to address this. And all those sort of criticisms exist in this sort of nebulous bubble of like general negativity around The Last Jedi, which I can totally see. But I think it's fascinating on a business reality level that they went to such a degree of addressing every little bit thing, but in like a painstaking kind of way.
Particularly because those criticisms did not impact the fact that that film made $1.3 billion.
Yes, exactly. And
Star Wars, Star Wars is going to make money.
Still going to make more money this time as well. And it would have if they hadn't done that.
That's another thing is I'm curious because I've not looked at any of the like the cinema score ratings to see what people thought when they came out.
It's not high. Like,
right.
I think on Rotten Tomatoes it was currently at like 58. So it's...
Because you got the Rotten Tomatoes score, which like obviously
cinema score will always be A+ for Star Wars.
You think so?
It literally doesn't matter what Star Wars film you release, as long as it says Star Wars at the front of it, it will always be a high score.
That's the thing that I'm curious on is like, does the average cinema goer like see the sort of the connections between the criticisms of The Last Jedi and the fact that they're addressing them, or is this just a fun Star Wars romp? Because like Dan, you were a way bigger fan overall of the package.
Yeah, I mean, it may seem like I'm coming across as negative, but yeah, like I think it's just the fan service moments, like. I've grew up with Star Wars my whole life, and just seeing these things kind of finally getting like resolved. Like one of the big things was them going back to Act 2 and bringing Luke back and kind of making him this like character of hope again. Whereas in The Last Jedi, that was one of my main criticisms of the film, like the kind of butchered Luke's character, in my opinion. So it was kind of nice to see them go back to that. Obviously, it was a Force Ghost.
An interesting conversation because we talked about this in the review in terms of, I said that I thought there was a particular type of Star Wars fan who would love this film because of things like that. Like I was talking about your type of Star Wars fan, where it brings in a lot of fan service, but at the same time is like tying up things nicely. It's not just like Yoda walks past a window in the background and you're like, oh my God, there's Yoda. It's more like it is sort of satisfying fan bait and not just Easter eggs. But Scott said he thought that they would see it for what it was, and so it was pandering. But I think that
for me, it's too easy. Like it's the same. I have the exact same problem with Solo. I thought that lent too heavily on references, and the later newer episodes of The Mandalorian, where it's just like, hey, here's a Twi'lek, and hey, here's a
Scott's been to America.
Yes, everything's legal. And but in regards to that, it's just they've fallen so much on that cushion of nostalgia, and just if we just show this, everything will be okay. And I just for me, it's too easy, it's too convenient. I think they need to work harder at that stuff.
With it being like the final chapter, like I was comparing it kind of like to Endgame, where you've got that moment at the end where all the ships come in, and it's kind of similar to the like portal scene from Endgame. Like they couldn't really do anything else. They need to bring everything together and wrap it all up. And I don't know if JJ was the right guy to do that, like because he was kind of the safe play, but like his hands were kind of tied with what Rian Johnson did. Star Wars always
goes with safe now, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a wider Disney Hollywood thing. But I mean, that's a really good point, though. Like, it totally works as a giant celebration of like Star Wars ephemera, the actors, the moments, the music, everything.
Going back to that moment, it's a mighty shame that they put that in the trailer, where the Falcon appears with a fleet behind them.
Right.
Like, I haven't seen that bit yet. Oh, right. It's literally that bit that I'm supposed to care
that was something that, like, just watching the movie unfold, it was like, well, this is the big... Like, I see the beginning of this scene, I know how it ends. Like, yeah, the same thing with,
It didn't need to be in the trailer at all?
No, not really. Especially when it is the big sort of savior moment. It's the big Dunkirk moment at the end of the movie.
But again, it's one of those things where when you have to front load the marketing to get fans back in, you put in a hero moment for something like the Millennium Falcon. There's a bit in this film where... You've seen it. It's a spoiler. Chewie gets his medal. Dan loved this. I swore at the screen when I saw it.
Good.
But I'm almost surprised that wasn't in the trailer because it's like as big as that Millennium Falcon hero moment. Rey doing the flip over Kylo's Like, these are all great moments.
They should be. Well,
they still did work for me, but it's just the way they're bridged together. It's
Chewie deserved that medal. He deserved that medal.
The Chewie thing is literally just from the end of New Hope. Like, he didn't get it.
He didn't get a medal.
See, that's on the level of like, well, like the golden dice were never a thing, so we should bring that back in. It's like, what sort of quote unquote deep cut?
After seeing Solo, though, I wanted some of those golden dice for my car, like just to hang on, just because. I don't know. Maybe it's just pandering towards me. Maybe I'm one of those fans that just loves it.
But I mean, you're allowed to totally love a fandom. And I think that's the thing. They have so many people right in the pocket. They know what to deliver on. I think that's the main thing that's going to divide a lot of people. It's like either you're in that pocket and you just love Star Wars ephemera and it works, or some of the wider machinations of how these movies came together stand out a little bit more. But they try and do both.
I've got a question for you both.
Different degrees, yes.
And I think it sort of addresses that. How do you feel about Babu Frick?
I mean, it's another little tiny animatronic thing with a cute voice that'll be a toy or a plushie.
But how do you feel about it?
Completely despondent. It's
it wasn't cute. Yeah. The people I was in the cinema with gave a louder applause for the Porgs when they went back to Act 2.
Right. I think
rather than that,
with Babu Frick or whatever.
I hated him.
I didn't really.
I hated the Porgs as well, though. So I'm not really that.
I was up for the Porgs.
You just heartless.
Like when Chewie was eating them, I was like, yes, Chewie.
But then he didn't. He threw it away. But yeah, I mean,
killed and cooked it though.
True. In regards to the Babu thing, because it came alongside 3PO powering down, I thought that was weird to go with a stupid sound effect from Babu and also from that weird hairdryer on a tire thing that was the new droid. They did a couple of moments where they sort of undercut what should have been meaningful, sad moments. Like I said, their attitude towards death is to undo it in the next scene, minus Leia's. But even the shot of Leia when she's underneath the sheet, there's totally a dude, like a random extra in the middle of that frame who's just standing, just looking tired as hell. And I couldn't not notice that guy. But yeah, their sort of attitude towards death is weird, and they bring in the Force energy healing stuff too.
I've got one for you as well. What did you think of the whole Kylo Ren and Rey kiss?
I see. The thing is, Kylo's my favorite character, so I'm game for that. That's totally fine.
But what about Finn though?
I don't care about Finn.
Friend zone Finn.
Yeah, friend zone 2187. Finn should have died at the end of Last Jedi for me. His arc was done.
There was so much they could have done with him though.
Yes.
Because of his story, he used to be a stormtrooper. Why didn't they do more with that?
I said this to Scott. That is a good film in itself.
Yeah. Well, that's what we started with.
Focusing on Finn and all those other ones, so they sort of bring those in, and it's almost like J.J. Abrams has gone, do you know how much a good film idea this was? I'm just going to do it anyway as part of this, and you won't care about any of the characters, but we'll sort of explore it anyway.
Yeah.
Finn, a Star Wars story. They
could have done, I mean, the thing is, John Boyega is a brilliant actor, and they set that stuff up. The idea of a stormtrooper rebelling or moving away from the Empire, then they do nothing with it in Last Jedi. And like I said, but then other than the sacrifice, which thematically ties in, that he's eventually going to wound the thing that he left, Rose saves him, which undoes it. And then in this, it takes it's only in the last sort of 20 minutes where he gets to meet that new character. I don't even know what her name is, and you find out that she's also done the same thing. But that's such a wasted plotline.
Jazz, I think
overall.
It was.
Yeah, but that feels like such a wasted plotline.
Did they imply that Finn is a Force sensitive in this as well? Because when Rey,
he just has feelings.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that bit when he's like, "Oh, we need to focus on this shit." Why? It's a feeling. Come on. That is lazy writing.
In the words of the darkness, though, love is only a feeling.
It's true, but
nothing to do
if
with
he
it.
was dressed in a catsuit, maybe I'd believe him. But I thought that in that moment, that falling back on it's just a
It particularly
feeling.
makes no sense because, Kylo and Rey are the most Force-sensitive people, let's say, apart from Palpatine.
Rey is a Palpatine, remember?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And they have this bond, but they can't tell where each other are at any point. So that helps with the bond because it makes for one of the best scenes for me.
Yes.
But then Finn, who has he's got a little bit in his finger, let's say, a bit of force.
Right, a little bit
he's
of
like,
force.
Rey is there. I can tell exactly where she is. We have to go to that ship.
Yep.
Then he's going to run towards her and scream her name.
Is that all the direction he was given? Just run and scream our name over and over and over
I don't
again.
understand how he didn't get washed into the ocean as well.
I don't know, to be honest.
He's Force sensitive, that's why.
He can part the waves.
I've got a feeling. There's a
It's
wave.
just the stuff with Finn, just felt pretty wasted. And that's kind of the overall feeling is that a lot, for me, I mentioned this in the review, but nothing was allowed to breathe and be and sort of, have pace and build up and pay off. It was just sort of hurtling from one scene to the next. Even the action scenes, even the stuff that they led with in the trailers, the idea that, the jetpack stormtroopers and they fly now and whatever, that scene is over in
Action
30
figures?
seconds. Yeah, just new action figures.
I'd buy them.
You probably would, wouldn't you? With your yellow lightsaber ray as well.
What did you think about the whole Hux thing as well? Him being like the spy.
Got leaked a while ago, and I was like, yeah, I mean that makes sense. And then when it comes to the moment, it's like, well, I mean, obviously, because
they
the way
play it as like a meme.
It's so obvious, and it is memed because then he gets his comeuppance. Like, after what he gets 2 comeuppance because he gets the comedy shot in the leg, and then he gets shot by Richard.
Why didn't he just go with him at that point? Like,
well, then he says it, but that's his last scene because he says, "I don't care what happens. I just want to see Kylo lose."
He does basically come back in a mole suit and goes, "Me, mole? Nah, don't know what you're talking about, mate."
It's just, it's the weirdest sort of thing. It's like, well, we should do something with this character because I think that for me, the overarching sensibility, and we can wrap this up because we'll go into other videos as well. But for me, the overarching sensibility is that sort of sense that they are going back to the stuff that didn't work, quote unquote, for Last Jedi and just addressing it head on and
which
picking
is good
up.
for people like Dan who hated it.
Yeah, and it should be good for me
bad
too.
For people like you who
but
hated
it's
it.
I think
Bad for people like me.
Yeah, I think you can see. For me, I could see right through it, and it breaks the whole trilogy because it means that you had this one movie that was aping A New Hope and copying it as a framework and going, okay, we can get away with this once. We can remind people what Star Wars is. Last Jedi was then this massive risk that a lot of people didn't like, but at least it was artistic and creative and subversive, even though it got some things quote unquote wrong.
I hear that word, subversive.
I know, and he Ryan Johnson falls back on that so much, but it did subvert stuff for better or worse. But then this being a massive apology to it, kind of completely undoes that middle chapter, and then we're just left with one formulaic movie and another one that is a spreadsheet response to the the interim stuff in between. So for me, we ended up giving it 2 stars in the review, but yeah, for me it was a series of things on screen. I felt nothing throughout the whole thing.
What's your star review rating?
Out of 5?
Yep.
Yes.
I'd say 4 at this point, but I've got like my IMAX goggles still on, so I need to watch it again, I think, and then...
you saw IMAX.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so your general sentiments are pretty positive.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a best moments thing, and we'll do various different discussions as well. Si, what's your closing thoughts?
I am sad.
You said many swear words.
That's generally it. Yeah, I did. I rolled my eyes a lot at the screen. I did out loud say swear words, and.
You said effing awful when I finished.
Could have been kids there, Si. Come on.
Well, I shouldn't have been.
True, not at this time of night. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below of Rise of Skywalker. Maybe you're still going to go see it, or you've seen it and you have all the thoughts in the world. For now, though, I've been Scott from What Culture, joined by Sedan. Nods to the audience.
First
and
time on camera.
Mr. Simon Gallagher, who
Goodbye.
also is a silent man, but we'll catch you next time.
I'm silent.
Goodbye.